Hello and welcome to Racelytics. I'm Jeff and we're here again at Lake Louisa State Park, starting off the second race of the series here in the Cat 5s. It's a pretty hot day, around 82 degrees, but the humidity was only 30%, so that ends up actually being a pretty cool day in Florida and really nice racing weather. Wind was out of the east at 7 miles an hour. A little bit more of a factor today than in the first race, but still just didn't really do too much and didn't really affect anybody. So again, we're out here with a rolling start, and already people kind of trying to go and make people work here to get this race started. But good to get the legs loosened up and working. And as you can see, I have my power meter finally working this time as well. So you can see my power watts over there on the right side of the screen. And yeah, there's some fireworks in this race, and pretty much we'll get right to it. So I'm picking this one up with 8.5 miles to go. We're reaching the turnaround, and that will make it 2 laps to go. So they changed the race up on us a little bit, and this now serves as the finish line. So we don't have an uphill finish anymore. Now it's this long, straight flat, which kind of puts us a lot closer to the parking area. I think that's the reason why they did it. But I am riding comfortably along the back of this group. Now that I'm just not in danger of getting dropped, I'm a lot more comfortable being back here, and really just want to stay comfortable using as little amount of energy as I need to be, so that I have energy for the finish. And things start to get really weird up here. So you see this guy, and he starts kind of going all over the road like he's a drunken sailor or something, and all of a sudden he goes down, and boom. I don't know how I make it through there. I'm in the grass, I'm in the dirt, and whoa, I just completely dodged a bullet. But without hesitation, I'm back on it. Saw me hit 800 watts, and I'm trying to catch the peloton. I need to catch this group or I'm done for the day. And I guess the guy's tire punctured, and it kind of looked like he was still riding. I'm not entirely sure really what happened there. So yeah, hey man, if you find this video, leave a comment or let me know what happened there. But definitely a scary situation. But luckily for me, I was able to catch up to the group, and you can you can hear me swearing a little bit. I guess this video is now PG-13. I'm just asking these guys if they saw what happened, and one guy told me that he heard the tire puncture, and that all makes sense. So yeah, I really dodged one there, and again, I'm able to catch up to the group, which means I'm still in this race. And I don't know if the guys at the front of the race knew that there was a crash in the back, but normally it's common courtesy to slow down and let people who were caught in the wreck catch up. So hey, guys in the front, if you did that, thank you. I really appreciate it. Or I guess the other thing that could have possibly happened was that the race just slowed down naturally. I mean, we're on the second lap here of what started out to be a pretty fast race, so maybe everyone just kind of wanted to relax a little bit. But hey, whatever happened, I'm back with the group here, and we're still going. And also, I should note that there was some Facebook posts that it sounds like those guys that wrecked were okay. I wish I saw the guy after the race. I could have talked to him, but yeah, we're still riding. So here are my stats for today. I'm 40 years old, 162 pounds, which means I gained a pound since my last race 2 weeks ago. My FTP is about 270. Then I have a functional heart rate of 154 beats per minute. So this really is kind of the start of my season. So I dropped my FTP down a little bit, even though I haven't tested it in 2 weeks. Really, from my race 2 weeks ago, and if you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. It is the first video that I've done for Racelytics. But that was sort of the end of my season. So I typically set my seasons up so they finish around the end or the middle of March and then the middle of October. And those correspond with really the end of road racing season in Florida. Road racing season, I'm talking about running 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And in October, it's sort of the end of triathlon season in Florida. So I came to cycling really from, let me take a step back here. I started with running. I was a track athlete in high school, and I ran club in college, but I was an 800-meter runner. And then I found triathlon in my mid-20s and absolutely loved it. And really, I mean, we're in Florida, so you can't run year-round in Florida. Well, I guess you can, but you have to be crazy to just want to go out there and put in a hard 10 miles in the middle of 80-degree heat at 8 p.m. at night. I mean, really, it doesn't. There's days in July, August, September where the average temp, even if you're getting up at 6 in the morning, doesn't drop below 78 degrees. It's just totally brutal. So triathlon was so much better of a change of pace, where you can do some swimming and, you know, biking. It's not as brutal when it's hot compared to running, at least. So yeah, this is sort of the beginning of my season. I have not done much training over the past 2 weeks. Really just took some time off, healed up, rested, so that I am, you know, ready to go and ready to kind of put some training in and take on some challenges. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, they changed up the course on us, and the finish line is now a lot closer to the parking area, whereas before the finish line was actually really close to where we are riding right now, just going in the opposite direction. So being that this is the last lap that I will get to see this course, again, I'm just trying to take note of where everything is, where the curves are, where the turns are, so that I can have a feel and really just try to come up with a strategy for the finish. Because my original idea was to try to slingshot off of the first hill, but obviously we're not on that course anymore, so we are going to have to try something different. And I really wanted to come into this race with a puncher strategy, again taking advantage of my strength in the 1 minute power area. So there is a little hill, and you can see it on that little elevation chart that I have at the bottom of the screen here. If you look in the furthest bottom right hand corner of the screen, there's a very slight little hill there, and then a downhill, and then it kind of flattens out at the finish. And what I kind of decided that I want to do was kind of get to the front of the field and then just try to slingshot and see how long I can hold it for. And it turned out to be a little over 1K, and I thought, you know, I think the field might be pretty disorganized, and if I just make a break for it, maybe no one will chase me and I can just win this thing going away. So you'll have to wait to find out to see if I was able to do that or not. But that is the plan that I have going into the finish for this race. So it's really not marked anywhere, but we're at the point of the race where it's about 1 mile to go from the finish line. And again, you can kind of see from the course map, and you can see from the video that it's pretty windy around here. And this really looks like it could be a pretty critical juncture of the race. You have a little slight uphill, and then it goes into a downhill, and then you make a right-hand turn, and it shoots right back up into an uphill. Putting out some watts to keep up with everyone. And this is where I wanted to slingshot from. I mean, that it's not much of a hill, but again, in this category, I think it can be done. And then from there, you have a little down here hill where you can rest a little bit. And then if you can just kind of powerhouse to the finish, then I think I could be in pretty good shape. So at this point, I wanted to stay close to the front. You know, I had my fun at the back. I almost got in a wreck, which at this point I just want to avoid. If I have to take on a little bit of wind at the front, I'm fine with that. I just still a little bit shaken up from almost going down. Alright, let's stay safe, and if I have to burn a little bit more energy, then that's fine. I see a guy sort of, I don't know if he's trying to get away there on the right, but he's not going to get very far. And if you remember from my first video, actually, this is where a couple people tried to do a short little breakaway, but again, then you had to loop around here and then go all the way back toward the finish line, which was still probably another 1.5 miles or so. So we're moving pretty good. We're going about 30 miles an hour here. It looks like single file in the back. You can see kind of everyone following, even though we're slowing down here now. We're about to do the turnaround. And we are at 1 lap to go. So at this point I'm feeling pretty good. My goal is to just stay in front, stay in the draft, and just continue to conserve energy, which I'm doing a pretty good job of. My heart rate is still in mid 150s, which is a little bit higher than I want it to be. And you see with 4 miles to go and on the elevation chart, we're about to hit some hills, and these gradual inclines, they do ask for a little bit of work. There's no doubt. But then, you know, people kind of relax on the downhills, but, you know, being that this is the last lap, I don't know if there's going to be too much relaxing to be done. You know, people could pick up the pace and really try to push it heading in toward the finish. Alright, so I wanted to skip ahead a little bit here. We have just over 2 miles to go, and we just got done with the hilly section of the course, and I really just allowed myself to fall back a little bit. I didn't want to work too hard on the hills and waste my energy. One of my main goals going in this race was conserve as much energy as I possibly could going into the final straight, and I really wanted to do that. And yeah, here I find myself toward the back of the field, which is fine. I still have 2 miles to make it up, and you know, as you can see, I'm already working. We're going downhill, and I'm just sort of letting my momentum take me past all these people, and I'm really not working too hard for it. Though I am making the same mistake that I made in the first race, and I'm kind of letting myself take on some wind here. So I really kind of want to slide in to the pack and get behind a wheel, but I'm just not able to at this point. And then we sort of hear these guys on the other side of the road start to yell at us, and we didn't really know what they were saying or what was going on, and we realized that there was a wreck, and they are telling us to neutralize and slow down. And as you can see, there's a fallen rider who really didn't look like he was doing too hot, you know, sitting in the middle of the road. So, you know, this is sort of the second wreck that I've come across today. And I mean, you could just see how dangerous that is if there's people flying, you know, down the road. I mean, he's in the middle of the road, but you know, we have chaos here. I mean, there's a mile and a half left in the race. There's people yelling to call 911 and all this other stuff, and it's just crazy. But I guess that guy turned out to be okay too. I think he ended up with a broken collarbone. But it's the risk you take in cycling. But alright, I find myself third wheel, and I'm really happy with this position. I'm playing the finish out through in my mind, and I'm thinking, wow, this plan might actually work. I'm feeling pretty good. You know, my heart rate's at 157, which is a little higher than I want it to be, but I felt like I had the energy to make this slingshot move that I've been talking about. You know, the field behind me is pretty strung out here at this point, even though I didn't know it. And as you'll see, kind of around these turns, they start to kind of slowly creep up. And I find myself on the inside here while, you know, the back of the field kind of bunches up and packs up. And 1 mile to go, we reach this kind of curvy section of the course, which is just a great springboard for someone to go, and that's exactly what happened, and I'm caught on the inside. So you can see in the rear, this guy starts going to the left, and he's gone, and I'm stuck here, and plan failed. So now there's a quick right turn, and I go from third wheel to like 15th wheel. Like, it almost feels like I'm in the back of the pack, you know, going up this hill that's at a 4% grade, and you can just see the power I'm putting out. And it was just so frustrating to me that I could not just work out my plan because I got stuck behind a wheel. So, all right, new plan. Now I'm just trying to sprint for a finish. I'm actually still in pretty decent position if I can just get back up to the front guys, and there's still a lot of people chasing, and you know, I feel like I can do it. So I'm still feeling pretty good, and this is where I make a huge mistake. So I have to brake right here. I try to go around this guy to the left, and it just messed up everything. And that's right here. And I had to stop, and man, if you brake in a sprint, you're just done. You can't catch up again. But I still tried, and I still passed some people. I passed the guy that made me brake, but you could see the winners are up the road. I just didn't have it to catch these guys. And I didn't feel very powerful in my sprint, but you know, man, I was in the mix, and you know, that makes me feel pretty good. So I ended up finishing 10th, and I think all things considered, that is a pretty good result. And the one takeaway from today is to just stay calm under pressure when there's people just flying all over the road in front of you. You know, I was able to avoid a wreck, and that's a win. So I'm gonna go home with all my bones intact and try to bring it again 2 weeks from now. So everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share with your friends. Really appreciate the support, and you know, I'll keep doing this for you.